Well, the UK has yet another new Prime Minister. They seem to be competing with Australia for how many times they can change the PM in a short period of time. But is Rishi Sunak friend or foe? Let's check it out. So, the appointment of Britain's first Hindu Prime Minister and former Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, it's a historic moment in the history of Great Britain. He also makes history as the first person of South Asian descent or of colour to take on the role. And his win will also mark the first time that the occupants of 10 Downing Street are richer than the monarchy in Buckingham Palace. He and his wife having a combined fortune of about £730 million, which is around double the estimated wealth of King Charles III and Camilla. Now, Sunak is a practicing Hindu, and he has said, quote, "My religious and cultural heritage is Indian. I proudly say that I am Hindu and my identity is also Hindu," end quote. And he also took his oath as allegiance as an MP on a Hindu document or book. Speaking to the BBC, Sunak said, quote, "Faith is important to me. I'm a practicing Hindu. I pray with my kids, visit the temple when I can, although at the moment rather less so because I'm busy." And he also lit candles outside Downing Street in 2020 to mark Diwali. Ironically, Sunak has also described the UK as a secular country, much to the delight of humanist UK. So what about some of the important moral issues? Where does he stand? Well, on abortion, he's not pro-life. He won't defend the rights of the unborn child. In the previous Conservative leadership contest, Sunak said he has always supported the abortion law as it stands, including the 24-week time limit. Yeah, 24. And said not quite as bad as New Zealand, but still very bad compared to other European countries, and that he believes in a woman's right to choose. Other than that comment, he has not expressed views on abortion. He's voted just once on abortion. He voted to support the imposition of abortion on Northern Ireland in 2021, but he's abstained on all other times on matters such as decriminalisation, do-it-yourself home abortions, and censorship zones and prayer bans around abortion clinics. I mean, abstaining, it makes you ask why he's in Parliament if he's not going to vote, which is actually what some media asked him.
I support the 24-week limit on abortion.
As a personal thing, yes. I mean, these are personal decisions. They're not government decisions. I don't think there's any need to change I believe in a woman's right to choose. I don't think there's any reason to change the laws that we have.
Why have you abstained on every major vote on abortion?
Probably because I've not been in Parliament on the day.
You didn't think it was important enough to be there?
Because as Chancellor, I'm often travelling.
2015, apparently. Were you Chancellor in 2015?
No, but I mean, these are not free. I mean, I completely agree with our current system of abortion. I don't think it should be changed. Okay. So so that's my general view. That's always been my view.
You just haven't been there when the votes have been taking place. Would you fist bump?
Well, there we are. That was the right question to ask. Why isn't he voting? And he says it's not a government decision, but abortion laws are government decisions. They set the laws. They set the standard. In terms of abstaining, though, on euthanasia, he also abstained in the 2015 vote on assisted suicide and has never expressed a view on the matter. On same-sex marriage, having only become an MP in 2015, he wasn't able to vote on same-sex marriage in England and Wales, but he was absent, surprise, surprise, for votes on the issue in Northern Ireland. I mean, they're elected to vote. Do they not turn up so they can't be held accountable? However, in the previous campaign to be leader of the Conservatives, which Liz Truss won, Sunak told the LGBT plus Conservatives, "I'm proud of the fact it was the Conservative Party that led the way and delivered marriage equality for LGBT plus people." And he also said, "All of our members within LGBT plus Conservatives do an incredible job for our party, flying the flag for Conservatives in the LGBT plus community. I want to hear your ideas on how we can restore trust, reunite society, and continue making progress for LGBT plus people. I pledge to continue to be an ally." And then on conversion therapy, the UK is still looking to introduce a conversion therapy law. Earlier this year, Boris Johnson's government made a number of changes to the proposed law, which resulted in a much more watered down and actually more reasonable version, which is yet to be delivered, of what was originally promised. But Sunak did not publicly speak out against this or plans to exclude trans people from the ban. But in terms of gender ideology, the Mail on Sunday in July spoke to a supposed ally of Sunak's who told the paper that Sunak believes we must be able to call a mother and talk about breastfeeding alongside trans-inclusive language where needed. And during the last leadership contest, he was reported to be launching a manifesto for women's rights and to ban trans women from competing in female categories in sports. He's critical of recent trends to erase women via the use of clumsy, gender-neutral language, and that should he become Prime Minister, he will not support the language of sex being eroded in legislation or the public sector. So some good comments. When asked about the rising problem of transphobia in the Conservative Party, apparently, he said that prejudice against trans people is wrong. The Conservative Party is an open, welcoming family to everybody across society, no matter who they are and irrespective of their background. Well, that's correct. Quite right. But that doesn't mean that harmful ideology, especially targeted at children and teenagers, shouldn't be targeted and called out. A few weeks later, Sunak said that a government led by him would review the Equality Act and associated guidance to make clear that sex means biological sex. How refreshing. And he pledged to put guidance on relationships and sex education onto a statutory footing to ensure children are shielded from inappropriate material. Good stuff. Now, in terms of free speech and cancel culture, he also said this: what's the point in stopping the bulldozers in the Greenbelt if we allow left-wing agitators to take a bulldozer to our history, our traditions, and our fundamental values? Whether it's pulling down statues of historic figures, replacing the school curriculum with anti-British propaganda, or rewriting the English language so we can't even use words like man, woman, or mother without being told we're offending someone. So according to, those were very good comments and a very good question to ask. Now, just finally on the Israel issue, according to a recent article in Charisma News, like his predecessor Liz Truss, Rishi Sunak has verbalised strong support for Britain's Jewish community and also for Israel, having cited a very strong case for moving Britain's embassy to Jerusalem. And Sunak articulated his support of Israel's rights to Jerusalem at an event organised by the Conservative Friends of Israel, calling the city indisputably the historic capital of Israel. And it's believed that Israel's and India's strong friendship could be an influence on Sunak's perception of Israel and of the challenges it faces in the turbulent Middle East. And Sunak's support for the Jewish state extends far beyond recognising Jerusalem as its capital. It includes a vow to fight for the security of Israel's population and a strong denouncement of the activism that seeks to harm Israel and Israeli Jews economically. So, despite a somewhat mixed record on certain issues, Rishi Sunak certainly seems likely to stand strong on issues around free speech, cancel culture, identity politics, and radical gender theory. But sadly, not so good on important life issues of abortion, euthanasia, the definition of marriage, and the Judeo-Christian values that have underpinned British law and society for so long. As always, for all political leaders, but for Rishi Sunak, continue to pray for him.